Hello everyone. So today I'm going to be teaching you guys about arrays, which, if you don't know, it's basically something that will hold a set of values of the same type together in one variable. Now if you came from something like Python, these are also called lists in Python, but in Java everyone will refer to them as arrays, never lists, because that's Python, not Java. So if you guys know two languages of programming, you need to make sure that you use the right terminology, otherwise no one will know what you're talking about if they only know Java. So they're called arrays. Now, an array can be of any type that is in the Java that you have. So the ones we have are int, uh, string, and double. Those are the three that we've talked about, and those are the ones that we can have an array of. So if we wanted a list of numbers, or integers, from 1 to 10, we could do something like this, all the way up to 10. And that would be our array. It's just basically listing numbers, which in Python are lists, but here are arrays. So if I say that it's a list of something, don't call it a list though. Call it an array. Can't stress that enough. So how do you make one? Well, let's just start off with an array of the int type. So we'll type in int and then the name of our array, which will be array. Then you do these brackets and you have equal to new int brackets 10 semicolon. Now basically what this does is it makes this new array variable called array. Then says the int value of it is 10. The new integer value of it is 10. Now basically what this does is it makes it so it can hold 10 values. That's what it's saying. This array has 10 value slots. It has 10 slots for you to put some sort of value in, whatever it may be, as long as it's an integer. And in case you're wondering, if we do string array2 is equal to new int 10, something like that, we'll get an error. And here's what the error says. Oops. Okay. This type mismatch cannot convert from integer to string. And if we did something like string, boom, it disappears. So make sure that you just use the same integer type. And that's pretty much all you have to remember for when you initialize an array. Now how do we assign those values into those slots? Well, first you have to know what ordinal numbers are. Now ordinal numbers are basically 0 to whatever, and it's different from what you use. I can't remember what it's called, but it's not ordinal. But basically when you count something you start at 1. With ordinal numbers you start at 0, because that's the order that they're in. So ordinal numbers will always start at 0, and guess what computers use? Ordinal numbers. So they will always start at 0 when you're indexing something or finding a value within an array. So if we did something like array brackets is equal to 10 semicolon, we have to specify which value it is. Now if we did something like 2, which would be the third value, and then we were to do system.out.println and then array 2, and we did semicolon, save, run, we will get 10. So even though we haven't assigned the 0, we still get 10. Now what happens if we put in something that we haven't defined yet, like 0? Then what do we get? We get 0. Alright. What if we did something like the 5th value, or I mean the 6th value, my bad, the 5th index? we get 0. It will by default change everything to 0 instead of any other number. And if we wanted to, we could define the 0 just like we did up here as, I guess we could say, 1. And when we save and run this, we would get 1 instead of 0. And that's pretty much it's kind of a way to explain it. Basically, here, I'll type it out a little bit. So we have array brackets. Now this is the exact same thing as just saying, well, let's say we have our array, and currently we have two things in it, the index 0 and the index 1. So this is basically what the computer sees it as, array. And then it says we have 10 value slots, and the first one is defined as 0. The second one is not defined, so we will put 0. The next one's 10, and then it does 0 for all the other ones. So 8, 9, 10. And that's pretty much what it sees, is just what we've defined, and then everything else is 0. And as you see, there's 10 here. So it'll always see 10, and it will see the ones you defined, and if you haven't defined it, just set it to 0. Now let's get rid of this. I'm just going to type what we had before. Didn't mean to erase that. Okay. Now what if we wanted to do this all at once and we didn't want to say how many values we had? Well, there's a way to do that as well. What you would do is just get rid of this end part that says new int 10. Instead, you're going to put these curly braces with a semicolon at the end. Now if we just left that as is, we would get something like, oops, the value local variable array is not used, but what about is it initialized? Well, let's try and define something to it. There we go. We assigned the first to 1. Amazing. Now we don't have to say how much is in it. So that's how you would make just a list that's as big as you want it to be. But what if we just print it out like one that's not defined? Well, we'd still get 0 because it's not defined. Now what about the problem of having to do this line by line, saying array 0 equals 1, array 1 equals 2, and so forth? Well, there's also a faster way to do that, because the people who made Java are smart guys. So they made it so in these curly braces, when you make those, you can just put all your values in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, oops, 10, not 20, 10, and then so on. And now if we try to print this out, so system.out.println, if we were to do array and we did any of the ones above, we will still get the right index from it. That's pretty much the basics of arrays. Just mess around with this, play with it, see what you can to make it break, what makes it work, and just different things that you can do with it. If there's something that you thought was cool and you just found it out, or you looked online more about arrays and you found it out and I didn't talk about it in this video, leave it in the comment section below. I'm sure other people would like to see it, and so forth. In the next video, just so you guys know, I'm going to be doing another thing about arrays, but it will be multi-dimensional arrays. So you must know your basics of these arrays before you go to multi-dimensional. Otherwise, you will be definitely confused and it just won't make any sense to you at all. So thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, press the like button. If you want to see future videos, subscribe. And if you really want to help me out, click the favorite button and share it to whatever you can. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll be seeing you guys later.